Good morning. What a beautiful day.
Yeah.
So welcome to the Sunday Celebration of Spirit here at the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. Please take this opportunity to turn off any electronic gizmos that you may have in your possession that will interrupt the sacred space that we will be creating today. After that, greet your neighbor, especially if it's somebody you don't know. We here at the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living honor each and every one of you, wherever you are on your individual spiritual paths. And wherever that path is, we acknowledge it, but we realize also that there is only one God. The words to the morning chant will be up here on the screen, followed by a spiritual mind treatment by Posi, Lyon.
The auteur is in the house. I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. Send my love into the heavens. It returns to me. Joy, I send my joy over the mountain. I send my joy over the sea. I send my joy into the heavens. It returns to me. Peace, I send my peace over the mountain. I send my peace over the sea. Send my peace into the heavens. It returns. Power, I send my power over the mountain. I send my power over the sea. I send my power into the heavens. It returns to me. I send my passion over the mountain. I send my passion over the sea. Send my passion into the heavens. And it returns to me. I send my love over the mountain. I send my love over the sea. I send my love into the heaven. And and it returns to me. I am alive in spirit. Spirit is alive in me. I am alive in spirit. Spirit is alive in me. I am alive. Spirit is alive in me. I am alive. Spirit is alive in me. I am alive in spirit. Spirit is alive in me. I am alive in spirit. Spirit is alive in me.
Indeed, alive. Love, more love into each and every one of its creations. All of God, all of it, present in every single point of space. It fills this room and radiates out from each one of us. I am made up of that God stuff. There's no spot where God and I are not connected. I am one of God, one in God, made up of God, and a absolutely necessary part of God for God to experience a Posi uniquely as me. And everything that is true and about and for me is true about and for everyone in this room, watching this video, and indeed everywhere. Each of us, each one of us is the beloved place where God shows up. So I claim for each and every one of us that opening to experience the light, the peace, the aliveness, the light and the love and the abundance and the wholeness and the order and the allness, the beauty and creativity of God, all of it, to open, to say yes to it. I invite each one to say yes internally to more God, more good, more of who and what each one of us truly is. And I claim and accept for each one involved in the service today, particularly our musicians and our beloved minister, that they are lifted up, transformed, made new to lift each one of us up with them, so that everyone leaves filled up to overflowing, spilling over with goodness. I'm so grateful for the activity of Spirit just pouring itself through each one of us as those God qualities that I've mentioned. Whenever any one of us leans into God, it meets us right where we are. So I give thanks for this. I release this word to the law, which knows what to do with it. I know it is done. It is already pouring over and spilling into the universe, rearranging it. Even as I complete this word, I let it be. And so it is. Amen.
I am alive in spirit. Spirit is alive in me. I am alive in spirit. Spirit is alive in me. I am alive in spirit. Spirit is alive in me. I am alive in spirit. Spirit is alive in me.
And so we get to breathe in even more Spirit. with our powerful, magnificent, unique musicians, Vlad, Bodhi, and Amanda. I just invite you to open your hearts and your spirits and allow the music to lift you up and transform you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Karyl, and there are several people here that I don't know, which is marvelous, and several people that are back after a long time, which is marvelous, and then people I see every Sunday, and that's marvelous. I would especially like to welcome those of you who are here for the first time. And we have people from our membership team with packets of information. The way you get one of those packets is simply to hold your hand up when I tell you. But one more thing, in the packet is a blue card, and if you fill that blue card out and give it back to actually, you can take it back to the membership table back there. You'll get a little book that is what religious science teaches, which is where you are. You're in a place that teaches religious science. So anybody here for the very first time that would like information? There, wonderful. Right back there. Keep your hands up, Jerry. It's right back there. So I'd love to meet you personally. I'll tell you this now, and I'll try to remind you. I'm going to convention right after service. I'm flying out in the 2 o'clock hour, so I won't be around for too many hugs, but maybe I can dash in just a couple. So anyway, welcome everyone. This is our theme for the whole year. 100 years of science of mind. Now, science of mind is the philosophy that is taught in religious science churches. So religious science and science of mind are kind of the same thing. And although it has been a thing, like a movement, a denomination for 100 years, the philosophy itself is age old. And there are two main ideas to it. One is that there is one divine life that we all share. The people you like, the people you don't like, it's still God's life in there, living through them and living through you. That's one. And the second one is our thoughts and our worldview is creative. And pretty much the way we see the world from the inside is how it presents itself from the outside. So this week, life presented itself in a very, very difficult way for me with the shooting in Florida, yet another shooting. And I want to acknowledge that if we're not careful, this philosophy of it's done unto you as you believe can seem a little impotent when we are up against something like that, where we all say, I don't create school shootings. So I want to, I had to work through this myself, so for the first part of the talk, I want to work through it with you because we say our consciousness, our thinking is causative. It causes our life experience. And so I want to address this from a spiritual perspective because we all have political and social ideas of what to do. If not, I'm sure you can ask anybody after the service and there'll be plenty of ideas. But when I look at this from the very deepest spiritual perspective, what I see is a consciousness or a belief system that believes that violence solves something. It can be no other way. I mean, that somehow in us lives the belief that violence solves something. And for that belief to be alive and powerful, you don't even have to agree with it. Because many of us would say, as I said it, we would say, I don't agree with that, I don't believe it, I don't agree with it. But if you allow it without countering it, it stays. And we must agree that out there is the belief that violence solves something. And if we gloss over that, if we allow it in our space, the power of that belief remains in the world. So the consciousness that I have and that I want to share is that violence of thought, word, or action solves nothing. That is my belief. It solves nothing. And that cooperation instead of conflict is the behavior that exemplifies the divine quality of oneness. And it is cooperation that solves conflict. That's my position. And may it be that I have the courage to say that when someone out there is speaking hateful speech. So I actually want to use the lesson from last Sunday. Those of you that were here last Sunday, the lesson was about anything and everything in our environment is a cue for us to love. Anything. Something loving reminds you, oh yeah, that's great. I'm going to do some of that. And if there is something hateful in our environment, that is the cue for those of us who believe this philosophy and want a more peaceful world. That's the cue to say, I have to substitute this immediately with a thought of love. And that doesn't mean that that's all we do, but as spiritual artisans, it is essential that we do that. It is essential that whenever there is a thought, word, or deed of violence in the world, that we take that as our cue to love. Go pet your cat, hug your partner, look at the sunset and give thanks for the beauty out there, something, so that that energy shifts and we do not allow the thought that violence solves something to take root in us. Okay? Okay. Now, what this takes for us all is self-awareness. Because part of allowing is to go on that loop of, isn't this horrible, isn't this horrible, isn't this horrible? Self-awareness allows us to say, uh-oh, I'm in that loop again, I have to love instead. So, this is the theme for February. The theme for February is self-awareness brings spiritual well-being. And self-awareness is simply knowing and naming what is going on inside and not having that automatic loop take over. So as we know our mind, we can manage it more effectively. And as we recognize our oneness with everybody out there, we become happier and more loving naturally. And we become more harmless and more connected. And as we realize that our thought is creative and we want to create a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time, which is the mission of this community, we do it. One heart, one thought at a time, we put love into the world. So, with that, we are going to take a sharp turn to the title of the talk today. The title of the talk today is, Are You More Valuable Than Your Car? And I want you to take a look at the altar that Gailya has made for us. So this is an amazing, she has Gailya, this lovely, lovely woman who's seen a lot of years on the planet like I have, has a young friend, Julian, who has this beautiful car. So the car is the theme that starts the talk today, and it's about self-awareness. So here is a mirror, and here is a book by Ernest Holmes saying, it is up to you. The title, very powerful, that's the message of today as well. And then here is a beautiful, beautiful bowl of fresh food that is good self-care. So that's the altar. Come up and spend some time at it and tell Gailya how much you love it. So let me tell you how this came into being. The year is 1980. I had just moved to the Bay Area, and 1980 is when EST and its spin-offs were really afoot. And the one that I went through was called Actualizations, where Stuart Emery had been working with Werner Erhard and then broke off and created his own training, which was called Actualizations. And what he said was, if you are not prepared to spend $10,000 on yourself in the next few years, I don't know whether he said your life is not worth living, but he basically said you're not as valuable to yourself as your car, because you're going to spend that much money on your car in the next few years. Now, $10,000 is $1980. So this is a lot of money that he was suggesting that we need to spend on our own, first of all, self-awareness, and then our own personal healing, because there wasn't in the schools, or a lot in the homes, the education for how to heal oneself. And so he made this analogy with the car. So I want to extend that a little bit because I think it works. So we nourish, we nurture, we pay attention, we spiff, repair, tune up, and replace parts of our car. So do we nourish and nurture and pay attention to less than optimal performance of ourselves in physical, emotional, and spiritual terms? Of course, we're in the spiritual business here. And so, do we know how to heal hurts? Do we know how to repair relationships? Do we know how to forgive completely and speedily? These are some of the self-aware, self-care kinds of things that we need to ask about. So I believe that life was meant to be joyful, peaceful, productive, and absorbing. And just like our car, we were created to work well. We were created to move through the world with enough physical well-being that we can accomplish our life purpose. That doesn't mean that everybody is an Olympic athlete, just look at me, but in some way we are physically fit enough to live our life purpose, and we are meant to be happy and good for ourselves and good for all. You agree with that? Good. So keeping the analogy of the car for one more minute, if something goes wrong with your car, the red light comes on, right? There's something that indicates you've got a problem here. It's the same with us, luckily. The same thing. Our red light is that we feel bad. That's it. You were meant to feel joyful and complete. And if you don't, if you feel bad, if you feel lethargic, guilty, confused, victimized, addicted, or angry, that's your warning light. Your warning light that something is wrong. So, moving on to the lesson. Poor thing feels bad. When we feel bad, here are some things that might be going on. We're believing a lie. Now, some of the lies that we believe are we're incapable, we're not valuable, there's not enough in the world, we're not enough, in fact, we're actually bad. That's lies. It's lies. Self-awareness is necessary for us to put a concept to that. Like, I don't know how many times when I've been in a counseling session and I get the feeling that there's a self-image problem in front of me, and I say, you wouldn't happen to believe, do you, that you're just not enough and never will be? And then it's like that's the first time this person has put words to the feeling, and they go, yeah. And you can just see it happen. So self-awareness begins by putting words to the concept of our self-belief. What do you believe about yourself? What are the words that describe the condition that you believe you are? And if you don't have words, you can try them on like that. Do I happen to believe that I'm perfect, whole, and complete? Do I happen to believe that I'm deficient in some way? Now, the truth is, you were made perfect, whole, and complete. But we need that self-awareness in order to put words to the concept so that we can even say, oh, I've been living a lie, and then change it. When you're feeling bad, there perhaps is a life lesson that you haven't mastered, and it is here. Some life lessons that I've helped people work on and that I'm working on myself are forgiveness benefits ourselves. Another one is honesty is the best policy. And another one is everyone is living the same divine life. Those are life lessons that we all need to master. And if you feel somehow in you, because you don't feel perfect, whole, and complete, there must be a life lesson that I haven't mastered, take a class. I am telling you, This is a feel good on Sunday. I hope it's a feel, it doesn't feel good yet, it will. It's a feel good on Sunday, but it's in the classwork where we take this philosophy and really apply it to your life so that you can make some positive changes so you can feel better, so you don't have to feel bad anymore. Or you might settle into victimhood. So when you settle into victimhood, you say things like, oh, my life will never work out, or given my background, this is as good as it's going to get. Or I'll just never meet the right one. Or my relationship will never get better. That is settling into victimhood. It is judging the current condition as bad and unchangeable. That is the most toxic thing that you can live with. And it's a lie. And then lastly, we refuse to become self-aware. I mean, I've seen militant non-self-awareness. I am staying in this negative concept no matter what. You can't make me change. That is militant non-self-awareness. It's believing that our pain has nothing to do with us and that something out there is wrong because we feel bad and I have no power to change what's going on out there. So the locus of control is completely outside of you and you're miserable. And you see nothing that you can possibly do to fix it. And so if we're here, we refuse to be self-aware, we're doing all these other things too. This little red light is dying. But we're believing a lie. There's the life lesson that we haven't mastered. And we have settled into victimhood. And then what also happens is that these self-concepts that we have not defined and put words to are active buttons that other people can push. And so somebody goes, you're not worth much, are you? And we react because it's a lie, but we haven't identified it as a lie, and this pulsing button is being pushed by somebody else, and we feel like they have done it to us, but we have responsibility for the buttons that we haven't turned off or uninstalled. Does this analogy make sense to you? Okay, this is what happens when we feel bad, one of these things. However, this is where it turns around and gets kind of happy. There is a path of self-awareness. And I'm going to go through these for you because it begins at the bottom. Unconscious incompetence. So when we are in unconscious incompetence, we are unskilled and unconscious. We are oblivious about what is causing our pain, and we have no idea what to do about it. But somehow, if we are going to walk this path of self-awareness, somebody suggests and we catch the notion that the pain that we're feeling is our own responsibility. That is the work that we must accomplish in order to do the next step. We must be able to say of ourselves that the work of this pain is my responsibility. You know, there's an old saying, if you have the pain, you have the problem. And that feels very uncompassionate, but nothing could be more true. Nobody can heal you but you. No one can heal you but you. So the first step is to realize that this pain that I'm feeling, that I have generalized into life is this way, is my responsibility. And somehow, if it's my responsibility, I can respond to it and do something different. That's the first step. When we have internalized that lesson, we get to go up a step. The next step up is that we are consciously incompetent. We are unskilled and we are aware that we're unskilled. This is a tremendous step because it gives you the opportunity to actually change. What has happened is you have taken the locus of control inside you, and you can say to yourself, this pain is my responsibility, and somehow, and I have no idea how, I can solve it. I can fix it. I can heal it with the help of the infinite, which created me perfect, whole, and complete. I can make positive changes. So when you're in this rung, you know that there is a better way through a problem, and you're working on it. You know it's your problem, and you know that the solution is inside you. So at this point, I have a personal story. The personal story involves this couch. Those of you that have been to my house may recognize this couch. Those of you that visited me 35 years ago might recognize this couch. So Paul, my beloved, has moved in. That means that there's double stuff. And some of his stuff is replacing some of my stuff. One of the things that is replaced is the furniture in the family room. So this couch that has been with me longer than my children went to the dump. Well, before we go there, this is consciously incompetent. I remembered the time when my little baby, 5-month-old Michael that couldn't sit up by himself was shoved in this couch with his great-grandmother. And the two of them were kind of looking at each other like this. That was in this couch. My mom and I passed the moment of the millennium on this couch. And you can imagine some of the other things that have gone on this couch. And now it's at the dump. And so, because this lesson that I'm working on that I am consciously not so competent with is change, after it went to the dump, I had an entire lunch of ice cream. Not the best way to work through change. But you know what? I was aware of what I was doing. I actually was aware and chose it anyway, but I knew that it wasn't the best way to work through change. So I'm squarely on this rung with change. And, you know, bless your hearts, you're probably going to hear more stories in the next few weeks about change. But I'm working on going to the next level, and the next level is conscious competence. This is where I am on high alert. I am gaining skill, and I am consciously on high alert so that I do not shove my feelings down with ice cream all the time. Okay? That's the work of this rung, is identifying and changing the consciousness and then changing behavior so that you realize your perfection, your wholeness, and your completeness on this next rung, and you keep working at it, So I do have some other lessons that I am a little bit more advanced with than change. And one of them is apology. And I am here with apology. I don't have anything to apologize to you guys right now, but it's an example. So I know that in the past, I have accompanied an apology with a justification. And so the apology went like this. Oh gosh, I'm really sorry that happened, but I was trying to do it this way. I meant to do it this way. Or I'm sorry that happened, and I was just in a really big hurry. And so I didn't look at all the things, that I should have looked at. That's an apology with a justification. And it doesn't feel as good as, I'm sorry. That was really unskilled of me. Please forgive me. So I know that, and I am on high alert that when an apology is called for from me, even if I really want to justify, I don't. I apologize and let it lay. You get the difference? When you do this over and over and over and over and over and over again, you get to the top of the ladder, which is conscious competence, and you are skilled, calm, and masterful. And the capital S, which is the path of self-awareness, is the God self that shows through all the time. That's the path. You just keep doing the work and you get there. So kind of by review, this is the work of self-awareness. First of all, you take responsibility. Your pain is your problem. My pain is my problem. Second, you decide on positive changes. Whatever course exemplifies spiritual truth to you, you strive to go there. You define it. You define what the pain is and what might alleviate it. And then you practice. You do it over and over and over and over again. So you create a new healthy habit. And when you have created a new healthy habit, you have achieved mastery. And you arrive at a place that is harmless, beneficial, and your divine presence shines through. You have interior joy, and that interior joy oozes out so that everybody that comes in contact with you shares your joy. This is the healing for anything that is going on in our world that feels bad. Because when we reach that level of mastery, we enter into this place of being a great, big, loving heart for the world. Like this. This is the Cornwall Peninsula, and the blue line is it's what you see on an app when you look at the flight path of an airplane. There was a training mission for Virgin Atlantic, and this is Airbus 330 on Valentine's Day, that took off from Gatwick Airport, flew out over the Cornwall Peninsula, and when they got on top of Penzance, they started making this beautiful, beautiful big heart in the Irish Sea, and then flew back to Gatwick. So anybody that was flying that day and had an in-flight tracking app could see the heart for Valentine's Day. Is that the best? So our tracking app is our interior felt sense of how life is. I want your interior felt sense of how life is to be this big heart. How about you? All right, let's go there and do the work. Thank you. The practitioners are surrounding the space here, creating a container, creating a great big heart. And so as we turn within to anchor this lesson, I just claim that I'll speak for myself, and as I speak for myself, anyone that wants to join me, just silently say, me too, I'm going there, I'm doing that too. That I promise with the assistance of the infinite presence that lives in me and around me, to do my own work, to heal all of the places in me that are less than joy-filled, harmless, and loving. That I am committed to feeling into places where I feel the least bit uncomfortable before I get to that lethargic, guilty, confused, victimized, addicted, and angry place. I go there when I am the least uncomfortable and put words to the belief that no longer serves me. I then do the work of changing that belief and finding the action that aligns with the new healed belief, so that more and more and more those who see me see a loving heart. They see a place where conflict is healed through cooperation and honesty. There is never a violent word that passes my lips. There is never a violent thought or hateful thought that contaminates the mind of God that works through me. This is the state that I want to achieve. And this is the work that I pray I am assisted with day in and day out until that complete harmlessness is made manifest for all to see. This is my prayer, and I stand in it. And so it is. Amen.
Would the ushers please come forward? I always like to start with gratitude, so thank you, Bodhi, Vlad, and Amanda for the transformative music. Yeah, give it up for Bodhi and the crowd. And as you're preparing your gifts, I would just like you to come from a place of inspiration as opposed to obligation. That if the words of Reverend Karyl's talk today inspired you at all with lessons on how to counteract the lies that we have been told and a path to, how'd you put it, ooze happiness and joy? Yeah, something like that. It worked for me, whatever it was. At any rate, if you want to come from that place and have a place to come to where you receive a message like that, please give from your heart. And thank you. Would the ushers please receive the gifts?
I am the Word. I am the Spirit. I am the principle of life's eternal giving. And I am everlasting, beautiful and free. I am one in God, and God is one in me. Sing it, we are the Word. We are the Spirit. We are the principle of life's eternal giving. We are everlasting, beautiful and free. We are one in God, and God is one in we. You are the Word. You are the Spirit. You are the principle of life's eternal giving. You are everlasting, beautiful and free. You are one in God, and God is one in you. I am the world. I am the world. I am the Spirit. I am the principle of life's eternal giving. And I am everlasting, beautiful and free. I am one in God, and God is one in me. I am one in God, and God is one in me.
Would you please say with me, this gift I give is God in action. I now send it forth to bless and to prosper. I know that everywhere it goes, it's creating a world living in love, one heart and one thought at a time. And so it is. Amen.
Okay, my loves. We also give a lot of gratitude at the beginning of announcements, and so I would just like to thank Jim Homa for setting up the space here, which, by the way, keep the chairs in place because there is another group coming in right after us, so no putting away chairs today. And I'd like to thank Bob Gordon for the sound, and I'd like to thank David Seltzer and Ron Buck for the camera work. And streaming is Tom, Merrill. PowerPoint, both the running of it and the creation of it, is our Mary. And the practitioners, a full table of practitioners today to help you with anything that's come up for you. Please get a prayer. Don't go away with anything funny on your heart. Just go over there and get a prayer. And I'd like to thank Vlad, Bodhi, and Amanda for the wonderful music. the Sunday team, which was headed up by Maria Clothier today. And the membership table is up for your questions about membership. And I believe we had some babies back there, some children, and so I want to thank Deborah Irwin for that. So, quick start with Marilyn Letzos is coming right up, so I'd like to have Marilyn say a little bit about it. You rewrote it, didn't you?
Yes.
Oh, ho, ho.
Yes. Not exactly rewrote it, but just manicured it, maybe. Brought it up a little bit more up to date. And this is an overview of Science of Mind. It's happening next Sunday for an hour and a half at 12:30, starting at 12:30 at our Learning Center. And a couple of weeks ago, one of you said to me, I think everyone here should take that at least once a year, because it's just such an empowering thing to see the philosophy, our philosophy as a whole. And it's all, the whole class is around these wonderful drawings. A picture is worth 1,000 words. And when you can draw a diagram of the infinite, or at least of how Science of Mind works, it gives you a whole new idea of how it makes things more concrete. So, whether you are new, brand new, or just would like to come and ask a couple of questions you've been thinking about for a long time, think about it. Think about coming next Sunday. There's no charge. Love offerings are welcome. And if you have any questions or think you might want to come, do come. Just let me know so that I can be sure there are plenty of copies of our handouts. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Next, I am starting a new round of new topics on prosperity, and that's going to be the Thursdays of next month, March. This is not exactly a redo of the class that I taught last year, but if you took it last year, you know that each week there is a different thought about prosperity that you can apply right then to your life. And so I'm starting that up again, and the sign-ups are right over here on the education table. And that, too, is a love offering basis. We accept payment for the class in a very creative way, which is entirely your choice. So that should be intriguing for you. You can sign up over there. Vlad, Gabe, and Bodhi are doing a wonderful shamanic healing at the Wu Wei Tea Temple on the 23rd of this month. So you are all invited to that. And if you would like to become a member of our community, a real true family member on the rolls as member instead of friend, we are doing a whole new member festivity launch next month, and membership, the class on membership is the first Sunday of March. So you are welcome to come to that, and you can come to it without making a decision yet. You can come and see what you might like. So the annual membership meeting for our community is April 8th. That is the business meeting. It happens once a year, and everyone is invited, and members can vote, and the others can cheer. Next, the Creative Craft Circle is on Wednesdays, and this is so fun. If you have anything that you do stitchery-wise or painting or anything and would like to do it in community, just come to the Learning Center on Wednesdays. Next, my wonderful trip to France is filling up, actually, and I know several of you have talked to me about thinking about it, so time to sign up on the dotted line, and I'm so excited about this. That happens in June. And this is the last day for Aquarians to be feted for their birthday month. So if you are an Aquarius and would like a present from your spiritual community, just come over to the practitioner table and fill out a spiritual checkup sheet and call a practitioner on the back, and you can get a full session for free for your birthday. And then lastly, Easter is coming up on April Fool's Day. Isn't that cute? And so I wonder what I'll talk about. Easter, April Fools. Well, anyway, we're going to do our wonderful Easter festivities, and the sign-up sheets are going to be out next Sunday, so think what you might want to do. This is kind of the biggest community party we have, and we have lots and lots and lots of people that throw the party so that everybody can enjoy it. So beyond that, remember to leave the chairs up. Remember that I'm leaving right away after the service. I love you, and come back next week. So the blessing for you is that may all of us, me included, just uninstall all of those buttons and become clear, free, calm, and masterful in our life. And as always, Spirit guides our way. Please stand now for the affirmation and closing song. There we go. Up here, I am devoted to my spiritual growth and to the well-being of my heart. The work of self-awareness contributes to my joy, to my connectedness to my source, to my harmlessness in the world, and to accomplishing my life purpose. I give myself to this holy work.
For peace, wherever I go, peace goes with me. I feel peace inside, in every breath, peace abides. And I know the joy of peace, and I choose fear to release every